Okay, good morning. Good morning. Make sure you mute yourself. We are going to have a great call this morning, Tracy, and super excited to hear from you, especially after convention. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I am Tracey Smith. I'm from San Diego, California, and I just got back, like many of you, from Salt Lake and had such an amazing event. It was incredible. And, I had a lot of takeaways from that event. There's just so much, wasn't there? It was just so heartfelt and wonderful. And anyway, I came back from that event thinking, gosh, we have an amazing product, don't we? And I've been on social media. I don't know, a lot of you have known, but a leader kind of takes over the global calls and all the scheduling. And so July is my month, and it is a lot of work, I have to tell you, going around and doing all those global calls and getting everybody lined up. And so I've been a lot into the details, but when I start thinking about all of those details, I think, gosh, what was the big takeaway for me for that weekend? And I have to tell you, it was really the stories. The stories really stuck with me. Of course, listening to Daniel's story was like, wow, that it was a big deal, and my heart opened up just that much more. And then you listen to, of course, Christine's story, and it was so fun. She's just such fun, and I loved it. And you think, gosh, I want to be that vibrant as I age. It's just so wonderful. She has so much of a future ahead of her. And then I think of Kim, her story, it's just so wonderful. I'm just so excited, to be part of the community. And so as I come back, Lance and I have talked a lot, and we talked a lot about the dream, the struggle, and the prize, of course. That's really what our business is all about. I've been on social media a little bit, and I've seen everybody so excited about, our new energy product, and of course the collagen and all of these things that we can be posting, that is just so incredible. Maybe someone needs to mute a little bit, so if you can check that. But coming back, thinking about all those stories stick, right? Facts tell, stories stick. And so as I'm looking at all of the media, I'm thinking, yeah, we're so excited about all these products and they're so wonderful, but you have to remember to tell your story through it. What is that energy doing? And I'm seeing a lot of you that are doing so great with it. How it's lowering, it's helping the diabetics, and it's helping their levels, and how it's giving people, that extra boost, that they're enjoying their life so much. So remember to include your story in there. But we are a business of the dream, the struggle, the prize. So let me dive into it a little bit. If you really start thinking, I know a lot of you probably have children, you've always had that dream, of having that baby. Do you remember when you were starting a family and you thought, oh, I want to have a baby. I want to have that in my heart. I want that to start a family, and it doesn't just happen like the dream and the prize. You have to go through the struggle, right? You have to go through the pregnancy, and it's wonderful at times. And then at the end, I think God kind of made it a little difficult. Like, I'll do anything to get my body back and this baby out, right? And then you go through the labor, and it's so intense. But you have that prize, right? You afterwards, you hold that baby and you think, I do everything again for that baby. It just gives me chills to even think about it, that you don't care what you went through because it's so valuable. And so everything in life that's important will have a dream, a struggle, a prize. We came back from convention, and we have this wonderful, incredible trip, that is offered, that we can all go on together. We can fill a cruise ship. Maybe we can fill 2 cruise ships, right? Let's make it happen. Let's make Daniel have to, get out 2 of these cruise ships. That would be incredible. But what are you doing? It's not just, oh, here's the trip. There's going to be some struggle in there, right? You're going to have to, you're probably going to stretch a little bit in your finances, to make sure that you get that pack so you have the multiplier. It's not going to be super easy. And then it's going to be work. You're going to have to go out there and you're going to have to create a dream for people to buy into, that they can see themselves on the trip with you, right? And what can you do for that? It is going to be a little bit of a struggle because it's going to be a bigger trip. It's the biggest trip that Three's offered. It's going to be longer, it's going to be better, and all of your friends are going to be there, and you just got to be on it. So what are you going to have to do? You're going to have to go out there and you're going to have to share a presentation, and then you're going to have to pull in that dream, out of you, and you're going to have to tell them that they can be part of that dream with you, and you're going to have to increase their dream. What could you do? Maybe you could, I don't know, make them envision, walking the beaches and being on the cruise and being at the table each night and talking about what you did. What events did you do on that cruise? Maybe you need to listen to music. I know the first trip that I ever qualified for was a cruise, and it was a Bahama cruise. And I'm telling you, 24/7, Lance and I were listening to the Beach Boys, all of the songs, Bahamas, Bermuda, oh, da, da, I'm not a singer, obviously, but you have to have it all around you if you want to get onto that cruise. It has to be in you and it has to ooze out of you. It is a dream trip, the Caribbean music. You have to live that dream. You have to see yourself on that boat. You have to see yourself checking in. What are you going to wear? Who are you going to be with? And what are you going to do? That's it. It's just very, very important. You have to have the dream. You're going to go through the struggle, but you will be on that cruise, right? You're going to achieve it. So I look back in my life and I think of, gosh, what were the monumental kind of things? I grew up in a family of all coaches. They were all teachers, and they were all sport coaches too. My dad did basketball and volleyball, and my aunts all did volleyball and soccer and everybody in tennis, and they all coached. And so when it came time for me to pick a sport, because I was going to pick a sport, they said, Tracey, what are you going to do? And I said, what do you all coach? And they all told me, I said, I think I'll pick gymnastics, because none of them did that. Because they were always on me about doing things. And it was funny because I picked gymnastics because at way back when, right? This is high school, or this is, middle school. The big thing was gymnastics, and all the Russians were winning, and it was the Olympics. And that dream got into me like, wow, could you imagine? Can you imagine being able to do that sport? I was just enthralled with it. And, so I did, I worked and I made a team, and I was able to put on the uniform, and I went to my first meet, and I was so excited, right? Because man, I made it. I was a gymnast. And I remember walking out on the floor X. This is way back when, like when they had flat mats. They didn't even have spring mats back then, right? But I walked out for the floor event, and I got to the middle where I'm supposed to be starting, and the music started, right? And I'm like, and I froze. I absolutely froze. Nothing happened. I didn't know what to do. It was the most embarrassing thing ever. And I just stood there, and I remember looking around, and I locked eyes with my coach. And then she started going like, and finally, oh yeah, yeah. So I started going, and I ended the routine way past half done, right? So embarrassing, thought I was going to die, wanted to quit. And I got there, and all my teammates came around me, and they're like, it happens to everyone. Don't worry about it. You have other events, and blah blah blah, and they encourage you, and just like our teams, they get around you. That happens to me all the time. And it probably happens to you, where you freeze. You're out there building the business, and you've promised your spouse or your support team that, hey, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get it done. And you go out there, and you go to contact someone, because you're listening for what they need, find a need, fill a need. And you get out there, and you're like, hey, I've got this great energy drink. And they're like, really, what is it? And you're like, I don't know. I gotta go. There's just little, and you have to just learn, okay, well, I made a step, I'm part of the team. I've got the uniform on. I'm going to go through struggles. We go back to gymnastics, 3 years later, I practiced. I was rough. They put me in ballet because I was too stiff. I had to be more fluid. But 4 years later, I was a state champion in gymnastics. I qualified CIF and it was amazing. I got a offer for college. It was just an amazing event. But there was a dream. I wanted to be that. I wanted to be a gymnast. I watched the Russians. I saw the Olympics, the struggle. I froze. I slid off a beam and it was not good and had to stand up in class for months because I couldn't even sit down because I hurt my tailbone so bad. There were struggles in that, but at the end you become a championship. You're a champion. And it's so important that you know that you're going to go through things, but you have to have that dream big enough. I know this is on personal development, but when your dream is big enough, you will do anything to develop yourself the skills to be able to win and be a champion. So, there's things that you're going to have to do. And I'm telling you, you're not going to do what's uncomfortable unless that dream's big enough. You're not going to go through the struggles. You're going to sit down and you're going to let things pass by and time pass by and you can't do it. So what is it? What is it that's going to motivate you? Early on, Lance and I lived in a 600 square foot condo and it was so small and I hated it because he would get me out there dream building all the time. And then he would bring me back to that little 600 square foot condo and I didn't want to have anyone over because it was so small and we had to dream. So we were looking at houses, but what's so funny is before the house, we wanted a motorhome. Lance and I didn't have children yet and he's like, oh man, this would be just so cool. And we were both working jobs and we'd look at motorhomes. And we started dreaming like, wow, what can we do with this motorhome when we have a family? And dream building's free most of the time. You can go out there and you need to surround yourself. What inspires you to do that thing that you're going to have to struggle through? The motorhome was a big thing. We dreamed about having a family and being able to take kids. And we bought a big manual on campgrounds across America, and we would map out all the time. We would map out what our plans were going to be for the whole summer when we eventually had kids. And it was so fun to dream build about that. And I have to tell you, those dreams became reality because we engulfed ourselves so much where we would do anything to be able to have that motorhome. I remember the first time that we actually got in there and we still had that book and we opened it up and we needed to be, I believe, in Mississippi one summer. And we took the kids, we put them all in the motorhome and we opened up and there was a campground. New Mexico was on the way. And so, unbelievable. New Mexico, we stopped and it was the balloon festival. Can you imagine? And that's what happens when you have time and your dreams big enough. The balloon festival was there. And then we took our motorhome to Mount Rushmore with our kids. And and they would learn about Mount Rushmore in school and they would raise their hands and they go, "We've been there." And the teachers go, "No, no, no, this is Mount Rushmore. It's back east." Yeah, we've been there. We wanted to have our kids experience history. Plymouth Rock, they saw Plymouth Rock, which is very small. Anyway, don't mean to blow that dream. We had a pontoon on the Mississippi, where we rented and our kids were on the Mississippi River. All of those things are so incredible. We had that big, huge dream where we would have to get uncomfortable and we would have to go out there and we'd have to put our egos and on the line and be embarrassed or be uncomfortable or push through or build the depth in the organizations to be able to increase that dream big enough where we could become reality. So my question to you is, what dream story do you have that's driving you? Because I'm telling you, you could get sidelined and we want you on that trip. Absolutely. What is it that's big enough that's going to make you pick up the phone and call someone and say, "Hey, are you home? I'm going to come over, and do you have like 20 minutes? I need to show you something. And just go over there, get it done, show them a presentation, but don't just show them a presentation about products. Share your dream, share them, tell them why you're doing this. Tell them why you would love them to join you doing this. It's so important. It's not just about products. It's not just about money. You've got to talk about why. Why are you doing this? And why do you want them to help, not help you, but join you and have you help them get what they want? Right now, I have a huge dream, and this dream has been a big deal. I have a beautiful home. Lance and I have lived in this house for 30 years. We've raised our kids. Lance is very sentimental. I'm like, oh yeah, there's other homes out there, but I have a huge dream. We still go dream building all the time, and there's this house, and it's only like 20 minutes from us, and it's been on the market for a while, and I want it so bad. And I could actually trade my house for this house, but I'm not going to ever do that because I have to earn this. It's not just a trade thing. It's not just a move thing. It has to be an earned thing for me. It's a huge dream. Let me tell you a little bit about it. It's on Mount Israel. It's amazing. It's 20 minutes from here. And at this house, it sits up on top of this huge mountain, right? And it's right at the top. And it has two lake views. That's a big thing for California. We usually don't have water views like that. So two lake views, but it's up high enough where out in the distance, you can see all of San Diego's coastline. And you know what's going to happen tomorrow, 4th of July, right? Oh, this house has an elevator. So you can get in the elevator, and it has a rooftop. It's a 3-story, has a rooftop where you can take all your friends and go up the elevator and go on the rooftop with these incredible lights overlooking these two lakes, overlooking all of San Diego's beaches. And you know what happens tomorrow? All the fireworks, but you don't just see one firework display, you see all of San Diego's firework display. Can you imagine having it? Oh, I get the chills again. Can you imagine having all of your friends up there and you're celebrating 4th of July, seeing all of the fireworks in San Diego? Oh, I want this house so bad. I'll tell you, I'll do anything for this house. Lance is like, okay, well, this is gonna be at least 6-star, honey. And I'm like, I know, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. And you know what? I am doing it. I'm super excited about moving on in the business. And I know it's gonna be a struggle. I know it's not gonna be easy, but it's gonna be worth it. Right? It's going to be worth it. Whatever I do, I'm going to read. I'm going to keep myself excited. I'm going to stretch myself and meet new people. I'm going to make new friends. I'm going to get them on the trip. I'm going to go 6-star. And I hope that house is for sale. I think everything's always for sale. Someone told me that before. So in closing, I just want to say, I hope you're out there and you're talking to people and you're asking them, what do you do for fun? We've talked about this before, and I love it because they always give a pause and they go, well, I used to. I'm getting that so much, but ask people, what do you do for fun? And, when it comes back and they'll go, well, what do you do for fun? I hope that you have that dream inside that is oozing out of you that you just have to say, oh, maybe it's travel. Hey, what do I do for fun? Right now, I am getting ready to go on a cruise that my company's offering. I can't wait because I'm going to bring a group full of people. What? Well, what do you mean? It's just a lead in into how you can bring the business. What do you do for fun? Oh, well, I'm planning on moving. You're moving? Where are you moving? 20 minutes away in this house on Mount Israel. And people will join you in your dream. They'll be like, what? Tell me about that. Yeah, there's a house in San Diego like that. You know, what do you do for them? I love my family. I can't wait. I have 6 grandchildren, and I can't wait because I am planning a Disney cruise with them. I can't wait. Disney cruises are the best with grandkids. And bring out those dreams. They'll go, wow, I never thought, wow, a cruise. Wow, you could take your grandkids? One of my biggest dreams was when I heard my sister-in-law's family well, it's her husband's family. I guess that's how you do it. My brother-in-law, his parents once a month they treat anybody who can come to a dinner. They go out to a restaurant once a month, and whoever comes, and they pay. And I think that was a huge dream for me. You know, I thought, gosh, that just keeps your family super close. Anyway, going back, what do you do for fun? I hike. Really? Where are you hiking? Well, right now I'm hiking around here, but I want to hike Diamond Head in Hawaii. Have you ever hiked Diamond Head? You know, get that conversation, get people dreaming. They forget about dreaming. Fishing. I want to catch that big marlin, you know, charity. Wow, do we have something to talk about now, right? What do you do for fun? Well, you know what? It's so interesting because I love charity. I love Make-A-Wish. I love Easter seals. I love doing the 60-mile walk for breast cancer. I've done all of those kind of things. But I really found a charity that I'm getting behind. It's called Love 3, and it's helping children. And 100% of whatever I do or raise goes straight to those kids. What do you do for fun? What do you do? Talk about family, faith, finances, your future, your fitness, and your friends. People need friends. They need community. They cry for it. And so that's all I have for you today. I hope I inspire you a little bit because you're out going out and you're going to be around a lot of people tomorrow and this weekend, 4th of July. God bless America, right? But but to God bless America, you know, America was built on a dream, right? And did they struggle? Absolutely. But what a beautiful country we have, one that everyone wants to be part of. And so that's all I got for you, George. The dream, the struggle, and the prize.
Thank you very much. It's amazing, and what you say is totally on point. I mean, for those of you coming up, especially from convention, when you see the dreams and on the stage, when you see not only the products, but it's the dreams, it's the energy that is there, and I'm sure you're sitting there and you say, "Wow, I can do everything I want." But many times we come back from convention and we think that reality is not our reality. The reality that we see is the reality that you can reach any goal. We create it, but we come back home, we go back to our own reality and we forget about that feeling. It's so important that we keep in action, and writing those dreams and living those dreams, like visiting the house that you want to buy or looking at the pictures where you want to know. I saw somebody say that wants to be mortgage free. Imagine your house not to make any payment and feel it like you are there. Or somebody else talking about a village in Tuscany. Imagine just flying to Tuscany, being in the area, looking at the fields, looking at that village that is on top of the hill, looking at that valley. um it's so important, and to see and to feel it. I always said, feel it until you get it, and not fake it until you make it. That's totally different. I don't like the word faking. Feel it until you get it, because you feel it. When you feel it, when you have emotion behind your goals, that's when you reach your goals. If you just write it down and take a picture and say, okay, that's cool. No, feel it, excitement. It's like Tracy was talking about. She wanted to looking at the Olympics and the gymnastics and the Russian gymnastics. Say, oh, I can do this, and eventually she was a state champion. It's why it's so important that to have that feeling. Anybody else has a comment want to add to this? It was amazing. Thank you, Tracy. I know some of you want to say something, but don't want to. But you want to.
Oh,
Okay, let me
all right.
start. Hi,
I'll say something.
hi,
I'm sorry,
Christine.
I was a little late because I had a little pond issue. So I was out talking to the workmen. Of course, I gave them this. They're taking care of that at the same time. They have to come back and do something, a little part I had to take care of. But anyway, yeah, I was saying, feel it. And also, where I was telling my other group before this call, it's 4th of July weekend. Hey, this is a perfect time to be handing those out, etc. But also, not to be over pushy or whatever, but if you're at the barbecue table and you have a table, just simply, say, wow, people are just talking around the table, and they're eating and stuff, say, Oh, I am so excited. I just found another way that I can make an extra $100,000 or another $500,000. Oh, pass the potato salad, please. And then people go, what? What do you mean? So, what is that? So, I'd love to share with you later. Don't go into the big table. Are you with me? You want a verbal vomit. Just say, "Oh, I'd be glad to tell you. I'm so excited." And then go on, and you don't look like you're jumping all over them. Everybody get that? But you're kind of painting that picture, just like you said, the dreams, because we don't know all the people being laid off right now and the dreams that people have, and they don't know what to do. It's not just the product, it's the opportunity. People are looking at over the weekend. Gee, it's almost halfway through the year. I might get laid off in December. AI's coming. What am I going to do? And you're promoting this, which you should, but you want to throw out at the table. Maybe you're standing around with a group of people, you're having a beer, I don't know, whatever they do. Yeah, the people standing around.
Not at my place.
Are they doing the flipping the hamburgers or doing whatever? People are just standing around in groups of people. Wow, if people are talking, say, yeah, I'm excited too. Wow, I just found another way to make another $100,000 this year. And then just go on and say, oh, are those hamburgers are ready yet? And then they go, well, wait a minute, what were you talking about? So, I'd love to talk to you about it later. Let me get your name and number if they're strangers. If not, just say, hey, I want to make sure I got your number. I'll visit with you on this. Really, I'm so fired up. Kind of just make it casual, but not to overdo it. But you want to talk, paint that dream. There are people hurting out there that are looking for something else. So even though and then after you just say, by the way, I want you, give me your opinion of this new product, that we're promoting or whatever. So it's all about the business, and we've got the tool.
Yes.
Okay. And the dreams. But people are looking for, dreams and avenues to get to their dreams. And if you don't even talk about it and you're only product driven, then you're going to miss someone that was going, what can I do? So always want to do both. So that's my words of wisdom.
Yes, thank you very much. That's totally true. And by the way, those conversations, creating the curiosity and saying something else, pass me the ketchup. Or something like
Yes, pass me the ketchup.
And the other thing I was thinking is if you're in a party and they have water bottles, you just say, where do you have the water bottles? Even if you see them and say, oh, they're right there. Oh, and then in front of the person, open up, put that thing, drink, and say, oh my goodness, this is gonna make me $1 million. But just talking to yourself, don't say anything else, and then just walk away.
Yes, exactly. I was talking about that this morning because people have water bottles, go and rip it off in front of people and put it in, shake it up, and I go, what is that? Oh yeah, this is going to make me $1 million. That's great. Just make it comfortable. And they go, well, that was easy. I could do that.
Yes. The other thing, you were talking about AI. When people, one of the things is a famous writer said that AI is not going to take over humans, but humans that use AI can take over other humans. Let me see exactly this.
Right.
Something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, and if somebody's talking about AI, I say, oh, I'm glad I have an AI tool. That's amazing. It's going to make me $1 million. Remember, we have an AI stuff. Today at 11 o'clock Mountain Time, we have a training. Make sure you are on the training. But we have the tools. I mean, we have an AI tool that is amazing. Things like that. See, always creating curiosity. Always creating curiosity. So important. Anybody else wants to ask something?
I'd like to say something, George.
Hi, how are you?
I am fantastic. Before I started the business, I was looking for another way to make money, even though I'm making some money right now, and I know that I will make a lot more money. But that was my dream, to bring in more income than what I have now. So I'm living part of my dream as I do this business, to have a little extra money in my pocket. And as I grow my business, I will earn more money, more income to live my big dreams. So I'm very grateful and very thankful for this business and for all of you that teach us more about the business and how to tweak the things that we need to grow on. The convention was absolutely phenomenal. It was more than what I expected. It was my first time attending. And I'm just grateful that I got there. I'm grateful for my leaders. I'm grateful for Frida and Gary and our team. They are phenomenal, absolutely fantastic. And I am on fire. Nobody has to light my fire because it's already lit. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's amazing. And by the way, that's a good beginning when you are talking to somebody. Oh, before I was looking for a way to make money, and now I'm making some extra money, and just tell something like, pass me the ketchup. That's a good way. That's a great curiosity approach.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
George,
Hey, Kenya, how are
you see this? I put my information on the packs.
Oh,
I have my, and the little printout things like you do for mailing.
you?
And I
Yeah.
hand it to people and I say, give me your opinion, give me a call. But I do not give it to them without getting their phone numbers back. So I can call them too. But this is just something that if they happen to hand it to somebody else, at least you have your information. Put information on everything you hand out. That's all I have to say.
No, that's right, Kenyon. You're right. Otherwise, it's a waste of money. You've given it to somebody else, and somebody, oh yeah, somebody gave me one, and I didn't know how to get a hold of them. I didn't know where to get it. So Kenyon was right.
Yeah, there was a couple that were telling the story how when they were driving after the convention, they stopped in a gas station, and then there were some people that were looking at the labels of the power drinks, the rock, all of this, and they were holding one in the hand, and the couple, one of them, I don't know if it was she or him, asked, "How much is that?" And he said, "Oh, it's about $4." And I say, "Don't buy that. I'm gonna give you something for free and with my phone number." And then give it to and give it two, one to for her, one to his wife, or him and his wife. And they say, okay, tell me what you think. Here's my phone number. Make sure you connect with me. And they left. Like 40 minutes later, they had a call that they've seen the phone a phone call, and say, well, we didn't recognize the phone number. And they answer, where are the couple? And they asked, the first question was, is this safe for teenagers? And I say, yeah, oh yeah, because my two kids in the car, how can I get this? Guess what? The person signed up.
See? Yeah.
And they obviously didn't buy the whatever they were looking at because he or I don't know if it was he or she or the husband, the one that gave the samples to them. Don't buy that. Don't buy that.
Yeah. That's good. That's just like a few minutes ago, I gave 3 of these to my gardener, and he said, well, I'll give this to one of my other guys. I said, great. Hey, try it and give me your opinion when you come back with that little part for the pond. And I said, actually, this is a great way, great hydration, clarity. I went through the whole thing, clean, all the best. He says, oh, really, 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 really? And I said, also, it's a great way. I bet it'd be extra money for you to talk to all the other gardeners and all the people, all the workmen will all be wanting this. And you could, he says, oh, really? I said, yeah, we'll talk about it.
Give this away and make money.
Yeah.
Hey, George.
Yes, go ahead.
It's Elizabeth.
Hi,
I
Elizabeth.
just want to say thank you first to Tracey, because I really believe that, when you dream and you believe in them and you feel it and you live in it, it scientifically reconfigures the mind, because then sometimes you may not have the know-how and the skill, but as you believe it, your mind cannot help but changes into believing what you have said, that you're living in this dream, in this house, and then because the mind doesn't know the difference in what's real or not, doesn't have a sense of humor, it believes it. So then you start having thoughts, and before you know it, you're just out doing stuff, you can't get tired of going because it already believes you're there and the skill is going to come. So I'm just saying that for those of us who may not have the skill and be concerned, is you may not now have to go get a book and study everything, but just live in your dreams and the mind is going to reorganize itself because it's just working with God, which is the universe. So I really believe that. And Tammy, we were sharing in our little group, and I was just looking at that this morning. It says Microsoft, maybe many of you have seen that, but Microsoft lays off 9,000 in AI drive. I mean, the time is just prime for professionals. Everybody, they may not be saying it, but everybody is looking for something. And most likely they're not looking for another job. We are now realizing that we got to create them because we cannot do what AI is doing. So it's just a great time.
Thank you very much. And thank you very, by the way, you say AI, then we have something called UI. Say, what is UI? Universal Intelligence is God. And we combine those two and nothing can stop us.
I love that.
And by the way, AI, although it seems that was created by man, but where we created the image of God, then who really created AI? Think about that. Anyway, thank you very much and have an amazing day, everybody.